Great. So for today's session, we'll cover the enterprise structure and the basic SAP S/4HANA overviews, which would start from this, like where we left yesterday. What is the SAP Easy Access? Okay. So by now you have the document. Let's jump right into SAP Easy Access. This is our SAP logon. This is a 770 logon. 770 is the version. You do not need to know a lot of things about it. I'll change this to 800. Why? Because my server is different, and this is what I'm using as the password. Okay, you'll get your own passwords, so don't worry about that. Since I've logged in, here is my login user interface that is called the Easy Access. Why this looks like this? Because I have changed yesterday the visual designs. That would mean my SAP uh, theme has been changed. Okay, your theme would be default. Yesterday I talked about how to change a theme. If you wish, because this is an interactive theme, the other themes are like there is a SAP Belays theme that is in the default, or the SAP newer theme, right? That new themes, what it does is it's made for people who are also colorblind, right? So it's all blue. So I'm not able to properly guide you through that every step in that case. But in the Fury, that blue icon works for me. So what we'll do is we'll also check Fury. We'll also check how this can help you guys into better navigating tools, because this is GUI. GUI has a lot of themes. You can change anything anywhere. And this, what does this mean? What are these icons? Let's uh, continue from the very basic. So this is the SAP HANA server. So whenever you are in doubt, you can check which version of software this is. This is S4 HANA 2023, which is the latest SAP HANA database. What does S4 mean? I've already talked about. This is a 4-level architecture, and this means suit for HANA. And this is 2023 release, which is the latest release that has come out yet. The next release would be in September 2025 when it changes to S4 HANA 2024. Okay. So every September, there is a major release for the versions. Every 1 year, they release a major release, and after every, so for example, right now you're working on SAP S4HANA 2023. So if the interview question comes in like, how many versions of S4HANA are there? So you can be like, okay, there are 23 versions. When this changes to next year, it comes up to the September month, it comes up to the 2024. Great. Okay, so now this is, what are these? This is the system ID, SID, like I was telling, A4H, and this is the client 800. We discussed about the client 800 yesterday. This is my user ID, GTR 006. You might have a different number. This is the program. This is a transition code. So make sure you click here. So once you click here, and then if I click on any T code or any path, you will be able to make sure what T code it is. So it is much easier to check sometimes that, okay, this is the particular T code that I'm using. Then comes the help button. Sometimes people would be like, I'm not sure which version I'm working on, and I don't know how to check my SAP version, right? So you can go to help. This is settings. You can go to, 1 second. This is not it. Second. Okay, you can go to system. You can go to status. Then once you get here, you will get all the details, like this is a demo system. This is the GUI status, SAP admin, user ID, Linux system. Linux is the machine that it is working on, HANA database, and the release. The release version is also there. The host ID is also there. And when you click here, this is the details. These are the details of your particular system that you're working on. So when I talk about S4 HANA, there is different, you will see a lot of things, right? This is the UI S4 HOP. This is the Fury HANA component, the front end Fury. You might have, if somebody did their homework correctly, that is Fury. This is S4 HANA core. This is IS retail, like a lot of sub components, main components are there. But when I talk about SAP, I talk about S4 core. Okay. This is the S4 core. The release is 108, and this is S4 HANA. And support package. What is support package? Like I said, every quarter there is a support package release, right? Which is every 3 months it will be one. Then next 3 months, next quarter it will be two, three, four. Similarly, for 1.5 year, your once you have purchased the system or a client has purchased the system, it will change every 3 months with a support package level. These activities are called SPAU and SPUD. These are not your part. This is done by the system upgrade consultant, which is the basis team. And ABAP team also help in SPAU and SPUD activities. Basis team will upgrade the system, and SPAU SPUD is done by the ABAP consultants. So this is not your part, but I'm telling you because there is a lot of things that you need to know, right? So this releases 108 and SP support package level is 4 times 0. I'll give you one example that happened with me. So my system was SAP S4 HANA core. It was 1909 version, and the release was 107 with the support package level was this 4 times 0. But from 4 times 0, I had to upgrade it to triple 07. Why? Because that 7 is the last. 0007 is the last version of any support package. Okay. So once you've upgraded it, SAP will not let you switch the release and not let you switch the support package. To switch the release, instead of 10, if I wanted 109 or something like that, SAP will bar me from switching that or upgrading that software, because every year with the major release they put one newer config. Like in 2023 September month, there was a release of the SAP Materials Management and the Carbon Sustainability Footprint module, which interlinks the carbon footprints with the S4 core. Plus, there was a multi-level subcontracting release. Multi-level subcontracting, when I'll show you subcontracting, there is an advanced concept which it is not relevant to your interview questions, but it is good to know a lot of things. So multi-level subcontracting comes in when you give, let's say you have a Bajaj scooter and you're going to sell it. Now, to get the tires, I need to contact which? I need to contact maybe Tollens tires, maybe MRF tires, maybe some other tire company, right? And when I talk about the nut and bolts, it would be from some other group or group of companies or anything. When I talk about the LED lamp, it would be from Luminous. When I talk about the meter, it would be from someone else. Maybe Minda, or maybe body parts are from Minda. Maybe seats are coming from some other vendor. And what if I have given to that client and it comes under the like that scooter got damaged, or if it's my own equipment or vehicle, if it got damaged, I'll give it for subcontracting. Subcontracting is a process in which I'll give it to a vendor. It will fix my things and return it back to me. So when that happens, how will that work? Is I need I need my material, or I need my entire equipment or whatever that machine part is to be repaired. But if that repairing has to go to one vendor, then it has to come back to second vendor, then the third vendor, and so on. And then it comes back to me. In that case, it is called multi-level subcontracting. In before versions of before 2023 versions, it was only one level subcontracting. So every year, every quarter, every quarter there is a support package, and every year there is a newer upgrade of the SAP release. Okay, so I hope that's clear about SAP. So we'll get into the tools right away. I hope you understand what is the system status and we're giving the HANA DB or not. So these are some of the launchpad tools. This is the favorites button. Favorites you can put. So for example, I need to launch Fury. Some of you guys might were asking, sir, am I going to do Fury? While I was getting you guys a little prepped up about how it is going to work. So this is going to be your Fury, and this is your SAP server. I'm not sure why this is not working, but let me just ask why this is not working. So this is the T code for SAP Fiori. We can check it if that's not working. Anyways, let's leave it. So there are different menu paths, right? So for example, I'll get you into logistics. And then we'll go where? We'll go to materials management. There are a lot of modules. There is plant maintenance, there is production, there is transport management, LE, then we have SD, a lot of modules, but we are only focused about materials management. So anytime, any day you get stuck, so I'll go into purchasing, I'll go into inventory management, what is physical inventory, one by one, we'll cover basics of it. So what is a purchase order? We already discussed about a purchase order. The SAP Easy Access is one of the easiest way that in which you can just go and create. So I do not need anyone to guide me with the T codes. Why? Because I just need a mouse. I do not need anything else. I can just go to SAP Easy Access. The path is very simple. In the menu, you'll go to logistics, simple, right? And then you'll find materials management. And in the purchasing, you'll get the PO cycle. The PO cycle starts from ME21N. So what does ME21N look like? This is a purchase order. So in a purchase order, there is a transaction. This is a transaction. This is a T code, right? What's the T code? The T code says ME21N. Here you can see. So for making this, I need what? I need a supplier, which is a business partner. This is a purchase organization. I'll tell you what a purchase organization is in this session. And we'll continue with the purchasing group. Then we'll continue with the company code. So all these will be done today, right? And then what we have is a material. So in order to make this PO, I need a lot of details. I need the PO quantity, net price, plant, storage location. Then I need what? I need the PR, the requester. Requester is the person who is requesting or the group who is requesting. I need an info record. I'll tell you what an info record is. I'll tell you what a free tick is, free of charge. I'll tell you what is a returns item. All this will be done, okay, in the PO itself. But for that, I need to cover your outline agreements, your contracts, your RFQs, and any other purchasing document like a old PO. Will give it with the reference. I'll show you the S4 system also. So in that sense, let's go to another tabs. So this was create PO. You have the change, the display, extend, right? You can, these are the old T codes. When N, see, okay. This is an interview question. What does N after the ME22N means? So this is also ME22. This is also ME22N. What does N mean? Does anybody already know? I think Deepak Kumar Sharma would know, right? Deepak ji,
Yes,
hello.
sir. Yes, sir.
Do you know what does ME22N, the N after ME22 means? This is also ME22. This is also ME22, right? What does N mean?
No, sir.
Great.
Uh,
So when you talk about ECC, these are SAP ECC T codes. When I talked about ECC, ECC meant Enterprise Central Component, which didn't had the cloud layer. The cloud layer came, it is a real-time transaction, and the cloud layer is HANA database. So in the HANA database, after September 1707 version of 2017, the N N is behind the ME21 T codes. Okay. So when you talk about N, the word N means the new transactions. Okay. This is also same. This is also same. Let me show you. If I go to create extend purchase order, this is also purchase order T code, initial screen. Okay. So, but this screen looks like different. This is also having purchase order, the purchasing group, the plant, the store location, everything is same. But why doesn't it look same? Because it is the older T codes. This is the newer T codes. It will directly launch you to the main screen where you will have a Excel-like data. And this will not launch you to the Excel-like data screen. It will launch you to the very basics where you have to fill everything in the ECC. So when you talk about ECC, you have ME21. When you talk about S4 HANA, these are the newer T codes, and this is ME21N. Okay, I hope that is clear. So coming back, I'll put it down again. This is ME mass PO. So when I talk about in the final sessions, the last 10, 20 sessions, you have the mass maintenance. This is called mass PO maintenance. So for example, I have a PO that is already created in the system. So how to mass do it, the mass change. Okay, this is called mass PO, mass maintenance of PO. Any PO, like you have, let's say 10, 20 POs already uploaded in the system. already updated in the system, and I want to change all the purchase groups, or like I said, the requisitioner of all the groups, or the purchase POs. In that case, I'll use the ME mass PO, which is the mass maintenance. So there are different things like the release. When you have a release strategy, I'll not tell you the release strategy here. The release strategy is an outdated concept, but in some projects you will get the release strategy as well. So for that, I'll put a special session. In that we can discuss about the release strategy. I can only tell you about the workflows, but release strategy will also be covered if you guys need that kind of assistance as well. Then we have list displays. What is a list? So this is also an interview question. Please take a screenshot, or please write it down somewhere. What are the reports of a purchase order? So when you talk about the reports of a purchase order, the question would come into like, can you tell me how can I define the purchase order reporting by a supplying plant, which is ME22W, by a vendor ME2L, by a material group ME2C, by a tracking number, by a PO number, all these will be there. So the most common reports that we'll use is ME2N and ME2M. So when you need by vendor, the third report they ask is ME2L. So tomorrow I'll ask what is ME2L, ME2M, and ME2N. Not tomorrow, maybe next week. So ME2L, ME2M, and ME2N. All these three should be by your heart. It should be revised. I don't know how will you do it, but you have to do it. This is the interview questions that I'm also keeping you making a note down. Only three T codes you need to learn: 2L, M, and N. That's it. So just write it down, then it will be much better. There is reporting also. So okay, there are different T codes. And if you talk about the subcontracting cockpit, I'll cover it ME2O N. This is the subcontracting cockpit. When you talk about the subcontracting, it is about the how your material gets uh, refurbished by a vendor, and this will be covered in the subcontracting topic, for which also we have covered in the phase 1. Okay, and then we have the other reports. This is ME2A. This is to monitor the confirmations if the PO is confirmed or not. Okay, so this is a supplier confirmation. I'll tell you what is a supplier confirmation when we talk about the PO in the item level. From the left side, if I count it's the 9th or the 10th tab for PO confirmations. The vendor confirms that I'm going to send the PO details. So there are a lot of things that we have to cover. Then when you talk about the reporting or the inbound delivery, what is inbound delivery, why I need to create inbound delivery, will not go with VL31N, will go with other T codes in which the inbound and outbound will be covered when we talk about SAP SD module. Okay, there's integration, good integration with SAP SD. Then there are PRs, right? What is a PR? Same in the PR, there's a mass maintenance of the PR, there is release of the PR, right? And then there is a list displays. What is a PR report? ME5A is the general list report. They'll not nobody will ask you all this about PRs, because PR is an internal document. It's not that relevant for you. But ME5F, maybe 5A, all that should be remembered, and all these purchase requisition T codes would be remembered. So once you get your server access, I already have your details, everyone's details. What we can do is we can give you each server one by one, and then you can take it up, right? So we have the contract. I'll also tell about contract. What is a mass maintenance? What is a message? What does message means? The message is like, if you need to print a contract, how that contract will get printed, right? Similarly, here we had messages, I didn't show up. This is ME9F, this is ME9K, and this will be okay, this doesn't have a message. Okay, there is no standard PR print. So we have message wherever the messages are there. This is scheduling agreement. We'll also cover scheduling agreement. What's the scheduling agreement and what does SA means, right? And in scheduling, there are two types of outline agreement. One is scheduling agreement, one is contract. And what is the scheduling lines? We'll also cover that. So nobody asks about studying remain these days, but it is a good topic. The interview question used to come. It can come if you're facing a manager level guy in your interviews. It can come definitely, and that is it. So we'll also do ME3L, same T codes. There are a lot of T codes. If I keep on showing, you will get confused. So let's not dive right into it, but one topic by one topic we'll do it. So you don't feel that it's too much for you guys. Okay. So we have a lot of master datas. So like I said, today we'll cover what is a master data, what is a transfer data, and what's a organizational data. So this is the entire system. And yesterday also we were talking about one of the topics, which is the SAP Easy Access is done. Then we have IMG. What is IMG in a golden client? So this is our development system. In the development system, how I'll get into IMG is I'll get into SPRO. There is a T code called SPRO. So when I type this T code SPRO, this will take me here. But what if I am in a quotation, maintain quotation? Now, if I type SPRO, what will happen? If I click enter, it is saying make an entry, mandatory entry. I don't know why it is asking me mandatory entry. So there are two things. I can put a new screen. So how to put a new screen? I can put slash n. Slash n means what? New, right? It will get me to the new screen. If I put slash o, it will open me another session. One second. Okay, let me come somewhere. Then slash o, it will ask me to create a session. If I create, it will open. It has opened a new session. So right now I have two, one and two. Two sessions are there, right? Then same thing. If I put a new GI window, it will create a new GI window. See, this is slash o. But if I go to, let's say, slash n me23n, okay, here if I type the select on this button, what does this button mean? Okay, it is a little slow. So this will create me what? The old POs. Somebody has sent something on chat. Yes, Shrikant, RFQ I will explain in details. So RFQ means the request for quotation. I'll just complete this one topic. Okay, so this is a PO, random PO, RM materials. This is a raw material. RM means raw material. And if I click on it, you will get to see a lot of details. This is a PO, gross price, net price, purchasing group. Somebody has already created their own Tata Motors uh, details about Tata Motors company code. If I click on generate, okay, once again, this is just the generate shortcut. Okay, this is the new window. That's it. And if I click slash n, it'll open me the back. Okay. Uh, okay. So you were asking about RFQ. RFQ means the request for quotations. So let's give example. I'll give you a very real life example so that you don't forget about it. One second. So how many of you have heard about NIT? Or let me go with GEM portal. GEM portal eGov. Okay, this is the government e-marketplace GEM portal. So when I talk about the GEM portal, why it is coming as photos? All right, okay. So this is the government e-marketplace. So what's a marketplace? It's the Indian government auction portal, right? Auction portal means you can put into any tender. So what happens with the tenders is, let's take it away with the list of bids. So list of bids means any work you can do, right? So for example, this is a bid. When you talk about RFQ, the first process in RFQ is the is getting the quotations. So this is the list of work. So this is the Indian Army military affairs, like what they need. They need this medicines, right? If anyone from you is a medicine industry, they can supply. I'm not promoting anything, but this is a good pager, 114 pages document, right? Nobody is going to type it. So it is generated by which? Via SAP. So How it is generated? They just wrote the name or the metal number, the entire metal details came in, and then it went to where it has all the details, right? Where it is needed to be delivered, Ahmedabad city, how much quantity, delivery date, officer, would be specification document, BOQ file, all this will be there, right? But when I open the BOQ file, it'll lead me to another document. So this is a BOQ item sample. So when I talk about RFQ, I'll also give a BOQ. So for example, I need this much medicines, right? The item description would be there in the SAP. Same, it is generated by SAP. This is not a human uh, typed thing. This is something that is already typed with the SAP. SAP, you have made a metal master, you just put the metal code, everything will come in, right? So what's the use of RFQ? Why I'm telling about the NIT and the tendering document and the GEM portal is the first purpose is to get the quotes. This is the process to get the quotes. In a real life, you put a bid. It can be there are three types of bids. It can be a limited inquiry. This is a open bid. Anyone can apply. If I put, I can apply it. Okay. Then the next comes for example, there is a closed. Closed means only 5, 6 vendors you know, and you put them. And then there is a uh, limited inquiry, limited, open, and closed. There are three types of bids. That's it. Closed will come with the OEMs, anyone who is a subsidiary. For example, SAP's subsidiary, SAP's marketing partners or service providers or what? Accenture, Capgemini, Cognizant, PwC, Deloitte. All these guys will come into the picture. And if any bid comes in into this GEM portal for or any other portal for implementation of SAP, not just SAP, everyone will take into the part, and whoever is the lowest bidding guy, they'll put up a corrigendum, or sorry, they'll refer with the corrigendum. Corrigendum is the latest changed document in reference to this NIT and TSD document. Okay, what is NIT? It's a notice inviting tender, and a TSD is a technical specification tender. So any manpower outsourcing services for like high school services and all that will be there. Anything other than that, neuromedical or all these are government tenders, right? So the payment will not be an issue with the government tenders. So people apply here, and this is one of the places that if anyone is starting up their own thing, they can do. And it's not just this. This is one of the websites. There is the entire NIT portal. If I go on about RFQ, it is going to take up all your sessions. So let's stick back to the topic. What is SAP and how this tool works? I hope this is clear. It's been good 30, 40 minutes. We'll take for 20 more minutes. Then we'll put a 15-minute gap, and then you can ask all your doubts. So let's get back to your SPRO screen. So if I go back to SPRO, what does SPRO mean? It is showing me the customizing execute project and why I have to click anywhere else. This is because there is a IMG guide. What is IMG guide? IMG guide means your implementation guide. There are a lot of nodes. Why there are a lot of nodes? There is a node for enterprise structure which is different. So I think Deepak Kumar Sharma would be very, very consistent with me in understanding this point. This is the definition why there are finance, controlling, so SD, service, materials management, logistics coming up. If I go to logistics general, if I click on valuation level, if I click on plant, why do I need a valuation level? Why do I need a location? If I click on MM, why does it have a store location? If I click on finance, why does it have a company code? And why does it have a business area? Why do I need a control area? Why do I need to check company code? What's a segment? What's a profit center? All this is going to be a little tricky for you. So configurations, I'm not going to tell you any configurations today. We can do the configurations, but it will take almost, like, if I am doing everything, I need a particular 1.5 hour session for this thing entirely. So if I'm going to start, I'll show you one TR thing, and then we can go with the TR which we did the last day, right? And apart from this, we have the materials management node that is also coming up. So materials management is one of the entire in the entire center. So by this, why SAP has put materials management in center, it can put anywhere else, right? You can see this is M, this is S, this is I. You can put anywhere. because materials management is the backbone of SAP. SAP is an auditing software. So when I talk about auditing software, can you audit without the purchase of inventory or without the sales of the inventory? Whatever you have made, it is needed to be sold, it is needed to be procured. Somewhere, somehow, it is going to be very useful for the entire system. That is why it is in the center. But this is not the general concept. This is what I feel about SAP. So there are a lot of things when you talk about metal locking. What is a metal locking? So a metal lock is if someone is changing. Let's say there are two types of locks. One is this is also something that I have read about on my own. The two types of lock. One is a shared lock. One is an exclusive lock. And when you talk about metal locking, is it means, let's say uh, Anup is changing, or Anuj, I think your name is Anuj, right? Anuj is changing, and Raghunath comes in and changes the same material. So whatever Anuj changed, the material is now changed, right? So you cannot change the material simultaneously at two different places. So this is a real-time system. Anyone is changing, only one particular guy is allowed one time to change that material or to hold that particular object. So that might be the case that Sheshu or is practicing and Chandrasekhar comes in into the picture, and then he changes the tables or practices starts doing the practice. So you'll get an error that this object is locked by GTR underscore 000 or 009, and your ID would be 10 or something like that. So in that case, this is called material locking. There are a lot of concepts. There's a baddie. What is a baddie? Baddie is a business add-ins. Add-ins means you have different baddies that you can work on, and this will be a technical object to make sure that the changes works. All these changes will be done by the baddies, by your technical consultant. It is not a MM object, but it is given in MM as because the ABAP consultants will come to the each node, and they will be able to configure your system and make different reports or different I would say enhancement to your particular objects, right? So we have a lot of nodes. If I don't go to general settings, let me put purchasing. So this is called which node? This is called OLME. Right now you can see SIMG means SAP IMG, implementation guide, SPR IMG. And if I go to purchasing, there is my middle master, supplier master. There are a lot of nodes, right? There's a purchase order. If I just want to go to directly to a purchase order, I can go via OLME. Let me show you /O OLME. See, purchasing. I cannot see anything above this, and I can not see anything other than this. Okay. So whatever is in OLME, I'll be able to see just that. So when I talk about SAP IMG, there are shortcuts. There are T codes that I know, and I do not expect you to know that as of today, because all this will come by practice only. So when I talk about OLME, OLME is the purchasing. Whenever I say OLME or in my PPTs, you'll find OLME, or anywhere in the entire SAP domain or community, you'll find OLME. OLME means purchasing. It's a shortcut T code. Then there is another shortcut T code for valuation. Valuation means OMWN. Then there are other shortcut T codes. If I keep on going, it will just be another long class. So under OLME, when you talked about purchase order, the same entries would be there. I was talking about returns order, and I was also going to give you the advanced returns management, which is the ARM process. This is the advanced return management. This is extra additional topic which came into the picture after 2019. After this 1909, you had advanced returns management, right? How you need to configure, what you need to configure, everything will be covered. That is going to be our future sessions. So this is the basic of SAP. So let's say I want to configure. Let me close this. And how to close a session? If I want to close a session, can anyone tell me how to close a session with the T code? I'll put /n, and then anyone from the students, if you can tell me how to close a session. Sheshu, Shrikant, I just told the T code a little while back. Guys, am I audible? Actually, if not audible, please ask me. Hello?
Yeah, it's audible. We can hear you.
Can you tell me how to exit? from SAP screen, or how to end a session?
Uh, we need to use code uh, something I forgot.
It's not enter, it's slash and ex.
EX. Yeah.
Ex. I've showed you in the PPT also. If I close, everything gets closed. Okay. Here I showed you about SAP slash and ex to log off. So whenever you log off, it means you're closing all your sessions and you are releasing the locked tables. So like I gave you the example of, uh, for example, Sheshu and Raghunath are changing and they're simultaneously changing. So what will happen? The system will say this entry is logged by Sheshu's ID or Raghunath's ID or maybe Anuj's ID, right? So when you press slash and ex, what will happen? It will say that, okay, this is now logged out, right? So now let's get into a little deeper. What is a master data? What is a organizational data? And what is a transactional data? So can anyone from the audience tell me what's the master data, what's the organizational data, and what's a transactional data? Deepak, Deepak ji.
No, sir.
I got a question from you about the organizational data. You're trying to configure the company code. So you might have worked on this, right? Sheshu, Shrikant, Chandrasekhar, anyone? I'll ask you a question. Don't feel shy here. Why to feel shy when I have not taught you about this?
Aman,
Just speak whatever comes to your mind.
yeah, Aman.
Mhm,
Actually, as per not SAP in general, I can tell like
mhm,
organization data is whatever the data in each departments,
mhm,
in each this thing, they hold certain data, right, which are confidential or which can be shared. Two different things. The data
mhm.
which can be shared, which can be is general data, which can't be shared is like the like costings, finance related. There be these all together is data, organization data. In if you say about master data, they have like complete set of list of uh, uh, data where we can access or choose according to our requirements. And transaction is like uh, from one vendor to other vendor transactions, or we are accepting, or we are releasing, or we are negotiating, or whatever it is that comes under transaction bill.
Kind of, I would say you are 40% right onto that part.
Okay, okay.
Why 40? Because see, there are types of data. So let's say I give a very real life example again. Let's say you have a laptop, or you have a mobile phone, right? And you are a manufacturing company. In order to let's say you're Samsung, right? I'll give example of Samsung now. Samsung phone has what display? There are 6 or 7 kinds of displays now. It's QLED, OLED, and LCD. Then you have AMOLED, AMOLED Plus, and three other four. I forgot those types. So now that green line issue was there, right? In the Samsung phones, you would see that there is a green line coming right here. So in that case, what was the issue? There was a vendor that was manufacturing, right? Manufacturing the same screens for everyone in the India. So Indian companies, what they do is they just assemble here, they buy it from some local vendors and then assemble and then just give it. And the defect was the green line. It is coming from, there is when you rotate your phone, this is now my phone upside down. When you rotate, there is a small chipset here, which in which there are few delicate, I would say, ICs. And if that IC gets broken down because of high current, that the newer I would say the Android update, the latest Android update, it pushed all the uh, current capacitors to burn down. When it burned down, the green line comes. So in order to replace and take back, what OnePlus, what Samsung did was they recalled the entire batch, right? How do you know that this batch was my batch, or this batch? What if I return a OnePlus phone to a Samsung company? And what if I want to know like which manufacturing date or which MAC ID. So if you remove your phone cover, there would be a, in Samsung or in any other phone or in any model, there would be IMEI number. What does IMEI number signifies? All this is just a part of identifying a data. So in order to identify what batch, or let's say, let's give you example of Maggie, Nestle. Nestle company owns the Maggie brand. Your kids, your you might also have had Maggie in your uh, college days. So let's say you want to eat Maggie, but there was a health warning that there is a lot of iodine, or maybe sorry, not iodine, iron, or more than what was permitted. There they have mixed lead in the Maggie or something like that. The entire batch was called out. How did they knew that the same batch was about to be called out, and how did they destroy it?
I'll tell you. Actually, Aman, how this goes is uh, whenever we manufacture any product, there will
Hmm.
be a batch number. Okay.
Hmm.
Based on the batch number, that particular products are produced in specific date and time. Okay.
Hmm.
So when that if you change the date, the batch number also changes because you can't produce the same batch number in the same date.
Obviously.
So when you mention the batch number and everything by scanner or anything in the back of the label while printing, after the coding will happen after the packaging. So then what happens? That is a code what we the tracking system, the quality or anybody captures it because they maintain a record of that the batch numbers. So when they receive a customer complaint, they track that batch number and they'll be having a counter sample of the product where they will hold up the product and they will see whether it is true or not. And they analyze in the market what could be the reasons of happening. That's how it goes.
Correct. But how that is relevant to SAP and to our case, that is transactional data.
Okay.
So whatever day-to-day transactions are happening, that is a transaction data. And the master data, what is a master data? So for example, I showed you right now that uh, the gem bid was in Ahmedabad location, right? The tender, the gem portal. In that, the particular data that is relevant to us was the location. That's the data that doesn't change. That's the master data. But location doesn't come in the master data. Why? Because master data is such data that is made once and it's not changed again. And then comes the organizational data. Organizational data is the data that is of the organization. For example, your client's data. Let's assume that you have a alphanumeric data for a client. It can be ABC tools or can be Hinduja Group. If I take Hinduja Group is a client, right? In a client, I have company codes. It can be Hinduja Group for cement, Hinduja Group for pipeline, pipe materials. Okay, it can be for food. It can be for other equipment, entertainment industry, any other, right? Or real estate. So we do not know how many company codes are there in a client, but as soon as the discover phase happens, the client tells about the entire picture. Okay, these are my company codes, and why we need a company code, why we need a purchase organization, that I will cover. So the basic is the company code is there, and in the company under a client we have a company code, and then we have a plant, and then we have a storage location. How a purchase organization is linked? Purchase organization is the level which determines how a purchasing happens in an organization level. So what is our organization level? Organization level is our company code. It can be a company code specific person organization, or it can be a plant specific person organization. So there are two different, there are three difference actually, and there's a reference person organization also. So we're going to use standard only, but you should know a interview question, that is what is the difference between purchase organizations. So I'll cover that. Give me 2-3 more minutes. Okay. So why organization is needed to be developed? Because what is organizational data? We need to develop it because an organization is needed to be set up in a format such that it is understood by the company and our consultants as well. The data of organization cannot overlap. For example, I have a organizational data. Let's assume organizational data is I'm going to put a plant that is located in Delhi, and then I'm going to put a plant in Chennai and Kolkata. Then Hyderabad, Mumbai, Madras, everywhere I'm going to put a plant, right? 5, 6 places. Now that is done. Can I make Delhi as Delhi instead of Delhi? I write it Pune. No, right? Because the system will have a particular number range. The system will have a particular set format, and that cannot be overlapped with the organizational data. The master data, on the other hand, is the kind of data that doesn't change for a long period of time, right? And the reason why it doesn't change is because I do not need my data to be changing consistently, so my transitional data gets impacted. Let's say I want to make a PO. The PO is a type of transitional data. And if my material master is changed continuously every day, right? So today it is a plier and spanner. Tomorrow it gets to nut and bolt. On the third day it gets to a flywheel. Then it gets to a axle. Then it gets to a spring. Then it gets to a spray. I cannot use the same material number for the same for different kinds of master data. So whatever is fixed, it is fixed. That is the master data. Organizational data, on the other hand, is you cannot change it once it is created, you cannot remove it. Okay. So for example, your company code is created once. Once the green indication is set, it is set. You do not have the proper details, or sorry, you will not have the proper authorization to change it in a real life example. Okay, a master data once created, you can change it, but it is not recommended to change it quite often because there would be inconsistencies. When I talk about inconsistency, if I change the old data, if I do not change the old data that is done in the transitional data, and I change the master data, it will start reflecting the newer data. And the old printouts and all that, it is not changed. So it will cause confusion again. When you see the reporting, it will show in the newer data. But when you check the old purchase order printouts, old data, it is a fixed transfer data. So it will show the old data as well. So that happened with one of my cases in which a medicine was changed from, I think it was a azithromycin medicine. It was changed from azithromycin to some IV, and it was very typical for us to understand why. Then we check the history of records. So in SAP there's a history of records why everything got changed. So that is the kind of thing we are going to do. It's almost 1 hour. Before I start the enterprise structure, any doubts you have, we'll take 3 minutes for your doubts and 15 minutes break.
Aman,
That'll, yeah.
yeah, actually, the organization data, the master data, and this thing, I want to just define in a small, only how do we define it in a small thing, in a general thing.
General way.
Yeah. See, if you ask
uh
me master data, I understood the example, but how do I define it? Means how can I explain it?
Material master is master data.
Yeah.
Okay. Enterprise structure is organizational data. Transitional data is PO. Day-to-day transition is transitional data. So
So
for example, no,
is
for
it that?
example, you are making a PO. The entire P2P cycle. You remember the P2P cycle I taught you on the first day? The contract, the RFQ, the PO, the
Okay.
goods receipt, the invoice, whatever end user do, that is a transitional data. Whatever as a consultant I'm doing, it's a master data. I cannot interfere in your transactions. So enterprise structure is organizational data. Material master is a master data. Vendor master is a master data. PIR, purchase info record, is a kind of master data. Source list, kind of master data again. So all that. And if you were working in ECC, service master was also a master data. Okay,
Okay.
great. Any other doubts before we take a 15-minute break? It's 11 going to be, and then we'll continue with the enterprise structure. So when I'll continue, if you guys need, if it's not very overwhelming, we can start with the basics of it and how you configure what's the company code and why do you need a company code. With the company code T code creations, I'll guide you with the basics of it. I hope we are able to cover till 7th slide or 8th slide, because if I cover company code, we will also cover the plans, then we'll also cover the store locations, the purchase orgs, and there are 3 types, like I said: reference, plan specific, and company code specific. What is a reference purchase org? This is going to be an interview question. Again, I'm repeating. I'll definitely ask this. This is where I make people get stuck, right? Why we need it, and how do you refer this with the company code? Two questions from purchase organizations, right? And this is one of the questions that is a defining question. It is not a joke.